just to the east a little bit, push it over. It looks like that storm may be re-intensifying just a little bit. We could see those darker hues of purple are back in there. We kind of were just talking about before how we were seeing primarily those darker shades of red going from that pink to the red, so a sign of weakening. But now we're seeing those bits and pieces, maybe since it's a little bit more scattered, like if you could see there's all these different blobs. I don't necessarily think that's hail because hail is usually constrained to one more area, so it's probably just a lot of heavier bits of rain. And I don't know, is this our severe special weather statement over here, or have they not pushed it in yet? Just to double check. I was seeing if that was stronger rain, but I guess up on our hail detector, we can see that there's that possibly some medium-sized hail. We haven't gotten any reports so far, but those shades of blue, that's where that medium-sized hail may be. So maybe around that 1-inch hail is something that we are seeing if we want to go away from hail detector and kind of go back and push out just a little bit. Okay. Can we just continue to pull out just a little bit more and shift over to the east? Thank you very much. We have an amazing production team back there helping us with our technical difficulties. So it doesn't look like those storms are splitting like we talked about earlier. So these storm systems have kind of just gone through an insanely odd life cycle. We've seen tornado warnings. We've seen baseball-sized hail in some areas. You have to see those pictures. They are nearly like this big in some places, but it's just crazy how a lot of these storms have split. We're having those like left and right moving systems where the storms essentially split. Sam talked about this earlier, where those northern storms will start to push up and then those right movers will start to push east. Those northern storms is where we saw that bigger hail threat. And Aiden has something over at the desk. I'll toss it to her.
Yeah, we're just getting some news from our control room that we've got a live shot ready to go with OU Nightly reporter Michael Buchanan. He's out at the Couch and Walker Towers, so he's going to talk a little bit about some of those storm shelters on campus.
Yeah, guys, I know you mentioned the tornado threat is downtrending with these storms, but you still need to be prepared. Tornadoes could spin up at any time in Oklahoma with these severe thunderstorms. And so behind me, I'm at the Couch Storm Shelter. If you're a student living in one of the on-campus residence halls, you have a storm shelter in your building. You need to be aware where that shelter is, and if you hear sirens, you need to get there. Reporting live at the Couch Storm Shelter, Michael Buchanan, OU Nightly.
Thank you so much, Mike. It's definitely great to keep students aware on campus when there is the chance for severe weather to impact them. And even though we may not be seeing that tornado risk at the moment, do not rule it out because there is still a chance for things to re-intensify exactly like what we saw earlier. These storms were kind of just forming on their own and then just intensifying and then weakening and then splitting and doing the same process again. So there's definitely a chance for that to happen, even though the likelihood is a little bit less now that we've headed on later in the evening because a lot of those ingredients aren't really into play. So I'm going to take a look back at here. I think this warning down to the further southwest, that'll probably expire around 11. So 4 minutes or so. Nothing really crazy. Oh, I'm going to toss to Sam. He has an update on that.
Yeah, so kind of similar to what we're seeing with our storm just to our west. We're actually going to, they just issued a special weather statement on that southern side for, I would imagine 50 mile per hour wind gust and penny-size hail. So.
Okay, thank you for the update, and we'll keep track of the hail on our hail detector in just a little bit, but primarily we're looking at this more northern storm because that's what's really going to impact us, and I'm sure they'll end up putting a warning on this northern portion just a little bit if it continues to intensify. I would like to get a tracker on this because it looks like it's nearing pretty close to us here in Norman. I'm still thinking about 20 minutes or so, but I'd like to see. Okay, all right, let's take a look. Okay, 11:11 OU, so again, that's in about 15-20 minutes, and we'll see Riverwind Casino 11:07 and gradually build, and then finally it'll push out to Lake Thunderbird around 11:24 p.m. and we can take that away. We'll keep tracking that as we get closer in time to it impacting us here, but primarily the things you want to be mindful of with this storm at its current state right now. Flooding, that is going to be a big thing. These storms are moving pretty slow, so they are just continuously dumping rainfall, especially here on campus. You need to be mindful because these roads flood horribly, especially Jenkins, Asp Ave. Be sure you're at home or in your dorm before these storms come into play because you do not want to be driving on these roads while this system persists, because even though it is weakening, we still have this continuous system moving through. So not only will we be impacted by this, there's a chance we can be impacted by all of this excessive rain as well. And again, we've noticed that it's been weakening as time has gone on. We could see it in our reflectivity. We're more so seeing those yellows and those greens, so definitely less stronger bands of rain, but still there is a chance for it to push northeastward right to those of us here in Norman. So just be mindful of that. And even too, you don't want to be out if it's hailing. Again, a lot of these storms we're seeing penny-sized hail, very small hail, but still, if it's coming down pretty fast and pretty hard, it can still make an impact. So you definitely don't want to be driving out in that or even outside during that time. So if we could zoom in on these storms a little bit more, maybe switch to velocity. I don't think there's going to be anything crazy. Again, those hues of pink, yeah, there's nothing. I mean, there's this little blob, but again, that could be just to faulty radar detection. There's a lot of rain wrapping around these storms, so the chance for that to really be any rotation is pretty minimal for the time being. We can go back to our reflectivity. Have they said anything about putting a warning on this storm? It doesn't look anything crazy. It just looks like a lot of rain for the time being. And we could throw up hail detector just to see if any of those pinkish blobs or more of hail. Okay. So, Sam, you have an update on this. Great.
Oh, yeah, no, I was just going to say, as of right now, we don't really have any new risk coming out for this storm tonight. What they're talking about is our threat going forward. Brendan, do you want to share a little bit of what we're looking at for the next couple of days here in central Oklahoma?
Yeah, sure. So for tomorrow, we're looking at another hail risk. Once again, the Storm Prediction Center has put us in a slight risk for tomorrow. The big threat there is, once again, hail. Tornado threat not really there. We also could see some more storms firing overnight tonight, later, 3, 4 o'clock in the morning. Now it's kind of uncertain just how big these storms are going to get and how strong they're going to get and what kind of damage they could cause. But they're kind of just going to fizzle out overnight, and then we're going to get a new line moving through tomorrow. Once again, Wednesday, we are in a bit of a risk as well, only in a marginal as of now. So we're going to keep an eye on that moving ahead into tomorrow and Wednesday, but that's sure going to be something to keep an eye on.
And real quick, just kind of how the night has been. New severe warning coming for this storm we have been watching. It'll be coming into Newcastle and Norman. So, Alexa, let's get back to you on the wall. Once this warning gets released, we'll explain exactly what the warning is entailing. But as we've kind of watched the last couple of hours, this storm is just going to keep on basically cycling throughout the night.
Yeah, exactly, Sam. Can we take it back to the hail detector just for a moment, please? I wanted to explain something. So it may be showing up as there's some medium-sized hail, but also this is just a probability based off reflectivity and some other factors too. But in these regions, we're seeing higher bands of reflectivity, but that doesn't always necessarily mean hail. And like I said, it was a bit more scattered of those higher ranges of reflectivity. So there is a chance that it's just some really hard rainfall that's coming down, and that's why these hues are showing up. But definitely we'll keep you updated if we hear any reports of hail in that area. Let's go back to reflectivity for a moment. Can we zoom out just a little bit? I kind of want to play this through again to see if there's been any changes in these storm systems. Zoom out just a little bit more. I do want to see that southwestern edge of the storm. All right, so it is weakening a lot, especially that back end, but then again, near Chickasha, there's been that, again, it looks like there could be a hail core or just stronger bands of rain in that area, and it looks like down to the southern parts, not really a split action we have going on, just a weakening. Sam has an update?
Yeah, so that severe thunderstorm warning that just got issued, 1-inch hail, 60-mile-per-hour winds. Pretty much what we expected over the last couple of days. And then we do also have a viewer question asking what our timeline for tomorrow is. Kind of looks as of right now 2 rounds, one early in the morning through about 7 a.m. So could be a soggy drive to class. And then we have another second round that looks to be honestly quite a bit more aggressive coming in later in the afternoon, about 5 to 6 p.m. And that'll probably continue throughout the night into early Wednesday morning.
And you definitely want to be mindful with this weather tomorrow and even tonight, because although the tornado threat currently remains low, again, still a threat for hail and some strong winds, this rain is going to be a lot more rain than what we've actually seen so far in quite some time here in Oklahoma. Over the next couple of days, we're expecting over 6 inches of rain in some areas. So that's a lot. And especially even here on campus, we see less than an inch of rain sometimes, and roads are already flooded. So they may even be flooded now. But you just really need to be mindful of that weather tomorrow, because even though there could be a break in the weather, drains may have some time to decrease the water that accumulates, but there's still a chance for that to accumulate again on top of itself, especially if drainage systems do get clogged. And again, you don't want to be driving on that, so just be mindful as we head into this evening and tomorrow and the next couple of days ahead. Again, we're going to continue to take a look and track these storms. So they removed that warning for that Chickasha cell, excuse me. They might bring it back. I don't think so. It could just be heavier bands of rain. Sam?
NWS is reporting that trailing storm is starting to strengthen. So as of right now, no severe warning. Could see one next 5 to 10 minutes.
All right, so we'll track that more northern storm, and then we'll take a look at that back in a moment and see if it intensifies even further, because now if they're saying that this could be a small hail core, but primarily we're going to focus on this storm that's going to be impacting Norman. So it does look like it's intensified quite a bit. That larger reflectivity band has increased quite a bit since our last few scans before. We were talking about it might have just been some stronger bands of rain, but now we're kind of looking at this may be some hail too. Currently no reports of hail in that area, but I'm sure we will expect to see some in the coming times. Can I get another timeline on when we can expect to impact us here on campus? Alrighty, so nothing has really changed too much. It looks like it got pushed back a little bit. I think before river wind was going to be impacted around 11:07. So now it's looking 11:16. So the storm has slowed quite a bit. But again, we're getting reports that it is intensifying, and you can visibly see that on radar. So again, it may start to ramp up and move a little bit faster and impact us a little bit sooner, like what we had thought previously. OU 11:21. So again, we were looking at 11:11, I believe, before. So it got pushed up 10 minutes more. So just be mindful of that. That's in about 15 minutes or so. You still have time to put your car in the shelter, because if there's hail coming your way, you do not want your car to be out, and you absolutely don't want to be out driving in it. So just be mindful of that, and just make sure that you're keeping yourself protected and your belongings as well. So I want to take this away, and actually I want to see some lightning on the Weather Center cam. I saw it flash over there, and I definitely think there's a lot of lightning associated with the storm, so I want to pull that up for viewers to see if we can do that. Okay, not really looking like too much lightning. I was standing over here before. Oh, there we go. Some lightning flashes all from that storm coming towards us, and it's just absolutely illuminating the sky. Oh my goodness, did you just see that strike? Currently no rain in our area here in Norman, but I'm sure we'll start to get some precipitation in a little minute or so. But again, that lightning is pretty big too, so it's definitely coming our way and going to be here relatively soon. So hail detector, again, we're looking at those darker shades of blue, so we were at more of that lighter shade, and if you could look ever so closely, we're seeing darkening just a little bit. I don't know what this is over here. It says small hail. I'm primarily concerned about this right here, but again, no reports of active hail at the moment. Can we switch back to reflectivity, please? Okay, so there is a good chance that there was hail right here. Small hail. We can see those different bits of reflectivity, or again, some of that stronger rainfall. And can we look at velocity on this? This has strengthened quite a bit. Okay, it looks like there's definitely some rotation going on with the storm. Nothing too crazy, but definitely something that we are going to keep monitoring. Again, because a lot of those storms, they did produce tornadoes earlier. We saw some tornado warnings, but I definitely want to keep a monitor on this, because if it does continue to intensify, we want to be sure we're monitoring that, because this could change the absolute threat game for you all. But just to give a quick note, remember, if you hear the tornado sirens, that means there's an active tornado warning, and seek shelter immediately. So what you can do on campus, go to the couch storm shelter, go to the lowest level of the dorms and go in there. Either seek an interior room in your house on the lowest floor. If you're unfortunately out and about driving, I know this sounds crazy, but get out of your car and go in a ditch. Do not go under an overpass. That is the absolute worst place to go. Not trying to scare you. Again, nothing crazy on this velocity, but I really want to keep you all informed in case of an emergency. And if you live in apartments such as the Ave and you're on the second floor and don't really have a lower level to go to, try to go into an interior room. And this may also sound silly, but put a pot on your head. That could protect you in case there is a tornado. But again, that is not our current threat as of now. We're primarily looking at that heavy rainfall and hail, but still, there is a chance for that to change. And again, this reflectivity has increased quite a bit. Yeah, let's zoom in on this storm. Can we play it back just a little bit to see how it's been evolving? And again, we could already see, Norman, we're already starting to get some some rain, excuse me, at the moment, some of those darker bands of rain, but that's not really the bulk of the storm. The bulk of the storm and the strongest is down near Blanchard. So it's still tracking to the northeast, which is us. Sam, you got an update?
I was just going to ask if we could toss over to velocity real quick, pause the video and go back to reflectivity.
Okay, can we zoom back down actually to that?
That rotation just south of Blanchard, something.
Yep, we were just talking
watching
about that. And again, I just gave everyone preparations for tornado just in case. This is near Blanchard, so Blanchard's about 20 minutes away from us here, but already that velocity has strengthened. Can we play that back, please? Just to see how it's been evolving. Yeah. Zoom in a little bit more on the velocity. Okay, this is definitely something we're going to keep monitoring because it has strengthened quite a bit. Definitely seeing some rotation in that area. Hasn't been any confirmations of a tornado or rotation from the NWS, but definitely want to keep that in mind. And we'll switch back to reflectivity for the time being, but again, in a few moments or so, we're going to switch back to that velocity to ensure that there is no tornadic formation with that. And maybe let's take a look at some of our hail for the time being, if there's any hail associated with this core. Okay, seeing some of those darker bits, and this is extended all the way quite a bit, and this kind of boundary of where this heavy precipitation is, that's coming into Norman. So I'm assuming that there's going to be some smaller hail associated with that. But again, this is the larger bulk and strongest regions of the storm. But let's switch back to reflectivity, and in a moment we'll go back to velocity. So again, those of you here in Norman, you might be seeing some pea-sized hail, penny-sized hail, pretty small hail at the moment, but definitely a lot of strong rain associated with that. And down in Blanchard, you're definitely seeing some larger sized hail, probably some strong winds, and a lot of rainfall. Let's switch back to velocity on that. I want to see if it's developed at all. Okay, zoom out. Okay, it looks like it's intensified a little bit more, and we're seeing some of those lighter hues of green. Sam?
Sorry, just real quick. We do have a viewer question. What about Moore? As of right now, it looks like this thing might scoot just south of Moore. Also, Scotty Allen, meteorologist Scotty Allen, OU Nightly meteorologist Scotty Allen is live at the parking garage looking at that situation. Scotty, what does it look like outside for us right now?